First episode opens with Siuan standing on the balcony outside her quarters. Lean tells her it's time. Moiraine and Lan watch the White Tower from afar. Inside, Liandrin learns that Siuan has summoned her. However, only the sitters of each Aja are allowed to attend. Liandrin's Red Aja friends vow to support her regardless of the charges. Avon and Maxim try to accompany Alana for protection, but they're barred from entry. Meanwhile, Varen, Adelius, and Naomi track down sacred objects that Siuan wants them to protect, including a metal cuff that looks suspiciously like what the Shanshan used to control their domain. Elsewhere, Liandrin accuses Siuan of being a traitor, informing the sitters that Siuan met with Moiraine despite the latter being banished. Siuan also encountered a man who could channel, Rand al'Thor, the Dragon Reborn. She let him get away too. Siuan denies this as the room fills with gasps. She pivots the attention back to Liandrin, unveiling her as a dark friend and member of the Black Aja. To prove this, Siuan brings in Nynaeve. She explains to the room that Nynaeve was sold to the Shanshan by Liandrin. Liandrin doesn't repudiate this. Instead, she channels, levitating in the air. Then, Siuan ensnares Liandrin with fiery gold weaves, calling the latter out for daring to attack her sisters. She demands Liandrin to give her the name of every Black Aja member before she's put to death. Liandrin calls upon her Black Aja sisters to join her. Suddenly, we see sitters from various Ajas rise to defend Liandrin. Alana and Lean flank Siuan as they protect her from the Black Aja's power blasts. What transpires next is unadulterated bloodshed and violence. Horrified by the display, Nynaeve attempts to channel but fails. Next, one Black Aja strikes one of the pillars, seemingly falling on Nynaeve. After this, another Black Aja chucks large debris at Siuan, knocking her down. This releases Siuan's hold on Liandrin, who also falls to the ground. Outside the doors, Maxim and Yvonne try to join the action to protect Alana. They butt heads with Tsudama and Galena, members of the Red Aja, before a handful of Black Aja lash out at them. As it turns out, everyone you think is a hero is really a dark friend. This rings true for Naomi, who unveils herself as Black Aja to Varen and Adelius. Naomi steals the sacred objects, but not before zapping their minds via channeling. Meanwhile, Liandrin urges her Black Aja sisters to link with her and combine their abilities. They channel a massive energy pulse, which sends Alana and Lean scrambling to protect Siuan. Liandrin and the Black Aja slip out. Siuan orders her daughters to track them down. Next, Moiraine and Lan stare in horror as the aforementioned blast emanates from the White Tower. Varen cradles her sister, who's not doing so hot. While Naomi's work doesn't erase Varen's memories, Adelius isn't so lucky. "Who are you?" Adelius asks Varen. Elsewhere, Alana, Yvonne, and Maxim confront Liandrin, Naomi, and the others. Before this, though, Naomi informs Liandrin that she has the artifacts. The plan is to snag a ship and get the hell out of Dodge. Siuan searches for stray Black Aja through the streets of Valon. She encounters Joya and Amiko, who kill the sisters tailing Siuan and restrain our fave Amerlin's seat. Alana, Maxim, and Yvonne engage in a bloody skirmish with Liandrin. At one point, Alana's warders stab Liandrin through the heart. However, Liandrin conveniently has a former member of the Yellow Aja to heal her. Liandrin and the Black Aja knock Alana into a pair of columns. She orders her sisters to flee. Before she departs, though, Liandrin controls a bloody sword with her mind and sends it in Alana's direction. Maxim shields her while Yvonne takes the sword through the chest. He dies. Maxim tearfully admits he can't feel Yvonne anymore, while Alana lets out a gut-wrenching scream as she leans over his body. Meanwhile, Joya and Amiko send debris from a collapsing bell tower to topple onto Siuan as they run. Thankfully, Moiraine stops said debris from landing on Siuan. Siuan and Moiraine lock eyes in an emotionally charged moment before Moiraine leaves. Inside the White Tower, Lan finds an unconscious Nynaeve in the wreckage. He cradles her as she slowly wakes up. Later, Nynaeve reunites with Egwene, Rand, Perrin, and Mat. Rand reveals that Moiraine wants him to go to Tyr next because one of the most powerful sangreal is there. Kalendor, or as Mat rattles off in the Old Tongue, the sword that is not a sword. Kalendor is located in a fortress called the Stone of Tyr. Whether it can slay a Forsaken or the Dark One remains to be seen. Elaine informs the gang that Moiraine wants to chat with them. They join Loyal, Avienda, Chiedband Bane. Moiraine reveals they're all sailing for Tyr the following morning. It's not safe for any of them to remain in Tar Valon. News of the Dragon Reborn appearing in Falme is spreading. Plus, the Black Aja striking against the White Tower makes them even more of a collective sitting duck. After this, Mat persuades Perrin and Rand to join him for a night on the town. Avienda and the other maidens are hot on Rand's heels. Rand urges the Ael trio to leave him be for a spell. Bane and Chiad insist they must protect Rand and see him safely to the Ael waste. Avienda is unsure Rand's cut out to be the Karakarn. Firstly, he has yet to face the trial of Ruidian. Rand reminds Avienda that she refuses to teach him. All she does is stare at him and roll her eyes. Meanwhile, Egwene, Nynaeve, and Elaine have a girls' night. Egwene admits that sometimes it feels like she and Rand are growing closer. Other times, however, when Rand touches her, Egwene sees Rhenna. It's clear she's grappling with the trauma of her abuse at the hands of the Shanchan. Elsewhere, someone sketches Mat with the Horn of Valere. Perrin and Rand watch as Mat continues to boast about blowing said horn. Hey, a little ego boost can't hurt anybody. The lads chat about women. Mat has his sights set on the Ael trio. Rand discloses he slept with someone else besides Egwene, but not that, she was a Forsaken. Next, Varen tells Moiraine and Lan that the Black Asia stole the tower's most powerful weapons. Varen warns Moiraine about keeping Rand from the Aes Sedai. Also, to keep a watchful eye on his progress. The madness could take him at any moment. After this, Lan and Moiraine run into Lanfear, who's as sleek and stylish as ever. She wants Rand to go to Tyr and use Kalendor to protect himself against the other Forsaken. Interestingly, she and Moiraine are on the same page. Lanfear believes Rand's friends are holding him back from becoming the man he's meant to be. She thinks Moiraine will do what's necessary to get rid of them. Once Lanfear vanishes, Lan warns Moiraine not to trust her. She urges Lan to get his Malkiri blade from the tower. If she's wrong about Lanfear, they'll kill her. Meanwhile, Egwene and Nynaeve tease Elaine about Avienda. Besides Perrin, Elaine is the only person Avienda is nice to. Siuan arrives, allowing Elaine to relax now, but tomorrow it's back to the novice whites. Elaine steps out so Siuan can chat with Nynaeve and Egwene. She encourages them to exercise caution regarding Rand. He could turn on them. Initially, Egwene refuses to resume her duties as a novice. That is until she strikes a deal with Siuan. If the Amirlan seat allows her to go through the arches and become accepted, Egwene will return to the tower. We see Moiraine eavesdropping on their conversation. After this, we see Egwene step through the arches during her test. Lan reunites with Nynaeve, who reassures her that Egwene will do just fine. Nynaeve tells Lan about what she saw in the arches, their beautiful child, and yes, they were happy as a family. Elsewhere, Elaine and Avienda get their flirt on. Elaine also reassures Avienda that Rand will adjust to his responsibilities to the Ael people as the Karakarn. At the same time, Loyal and Rand recite the prophecies together. Elaine enters the room and dispenses wisdom about wielding power to Rand. Next, we see Egwene, Nynaeve, and Elaine in gorgeous outfits as they ride horses through stunning terrain. This is what Egwene sees when she enters the arches. In this alternate reality, Egwene is the Amirlan seat. They stumble upon Rand, who's succumbed to the madness. He's standing in a river, looking, mad. He demands they bow to him. Egwene advises Nynaeve and Elaine to steel themselves. Egwene emerges from the arches covered in blood. Meanwhile, Rand and Moiraine chat about next steps. Rand wonders if their trip to Tyr and his retrieving Kalendor might be a trap. Perhaps this is what the Forsaken want. Rand admits he wants to head home to the Two Rivers. Moiraine reminds him that he needs a legitimate army, not a militia composed of farmers. Rand asserts Moiraine can't tell him what to do anymore. Siuan slips the Great Serpent Ring on Egwene's finger. She's officially an accepted. Egwene departs, but not before telling Siuan that her duty is to the light, not the tower. Now that she has the ring, she can come and go as she pleases. That evening, Lan shows Nynaeve his father's Malkiri sword. He voices his concern regarding the Forsaken. They won't just come for Rand, they'll come for everyone. Elsewhere, Mat and Loyal slake their thirst with some booze. Bane and Chiad propose they partake in an IL classic game, Maiden's Kiss. They thrust their spears at Mat's throat. The name of the game is kissing. If Mat's kissing is satisfactory, Chiad and Bane move their spears away from his throat. However, if it's a fail, they'll draw blood and perhaps more. Unsurprisingly, Mat's all in because he loves kissing. Then Elaine and Avienda play their own version of the kissing game. Well, sans blades. They finally share a smooch. They're cute. Meanwhile, Egwene dresses Rand's wound. He asks her about her venture through the arches. Egwene remarks that it was terrible. She admits a version of him was there, but she's not afraid of Rand. Egwene vows to stay by his side till the end of the line. While they get intimate, Egwene relives the memory of Rhenna grabbing her throat. Despite this, she tells Rand she wants to try. Next, we see a cloaked stranger descend the stairs behind Moiraine. Nynaeve and Mat hang out after everyone else has gone to bed. He spreads out his cards and asks if she wants to play. Nynaeve reminds Mat that she's still his wisdom. She can help him. In addition to occasionally blurting out sentences in the old tongue, Mat has insomnia and hears voices in his head. He even has memories that aren't his own. Blowing the horn of Valere changed him. Egwene has a nightmare about Rhenna in Falme and Mad Rand from her Arches experience. Mat becomes entranced by his cards. The figures move to and fro. While he's distracted, the stranger stabs Nynaeve. Egwene wakes again to find an alternate Rand strangling her. Rand wakes up and tackles Alt Rand. They both tell Egwene to run. More Rands emerge from two adjacent mirrors. At the same time, an errant axe flies around the room where Perrin and Loial sleep. It embeds itself in Perrin before he rips it out of him, sending it flying elsewhere. At one point, Loial throws it in Bane and Chiad's direction. At another, the axe almost chokes Chiad, but Loial saves her. Meanwhile, the stranger incessantly stabs Nynaeve. Mat's still bewitched by the cards. Moiraine and Lan listen to the carnage. This is part of their deal with Lanfear. She orchestrated this to extricate Rand from his friends. Egwene channels and inadvertently smashes one of the mirrors, which shatters one of the Alt-Rands. Another Alt-Rand stabs Egwene in the gut. Realizing it's the mirrors, Egwene instructs Rand to break the other mirror. The real Rand channels and does just that. However, he enjoys channeling a little too much. Egwene urges him to let go. Loial lodges the axe into the floor and breaks off the handle. Lan overhears Nynaeve call out for him. Unable to stand idly by any longer, Lan grabs his sword and stabs the stranger. Moiraine emerges and heals Nynaeve's wounds. Later, Moiraine and Lan confront Lanfear. They tell her she went too far. Nynaeve was stabbed 11 times. Moiraine describes the assailant as having gray eyes with blackened fingers. Lanfear realizes this is a gray man. Only one Forsaken can create gray men. Lanfear urges Lan and Moiraine to get Rand out of Tar Valon now. The following day, Nynaeve and Mat reveal their plans to stay in Tar Valon. Perrin is returning to the Two Rivers with Loial, Bane, and Chiad. Since Loial saved the maidens' lives, they're offering their protection. Egwene insists she's sticking with Rand. Lan gives Nynaeve his mother's ring as a parting gift, asserting that he wouldn't want anyone else as his queen. Oh, my heart. Avienda's accompanying Rand, too. She's giving him a chance to prove he's the Karakarn. Rand tells Moiraine they're not going to Tyr, but the Ael Waste. He'll amass his army from the Ael people to defeat the Shadow. Elsewhere, Moghedien tortures Jaichim, a white cloak. We see her transform him into a gray man, and it ain't pretty. After this transformation, Moghedien tasks him with finding someone for her.